Donald Trump is down at Mar-a-Lago. You're talking about like Kellyanne potentially coming back into the fold. But there are, it sounds like, based on your reporting, a lot of questions about who is going to come back into Trump's orbit in the event there is another White House, and why, what criteria he may be looking for from those people. What have you learned?
Well, it's interesting because everyone's like, oh, you know, he's going to pick some super MAGA candidate like Marjorie Taylor Greene to be in the cabinet. I spoke to her recently. She said she wanted to be DHS secretary. But it's very unlikely, you know, or like a Matt Gaetz or a Kash Patel, some of these like MAGA icons. But the truth is that right now for these cabinet positions and for the vice president, Trump is sort of looking at people in ways where he's like, what kind of donors can you bring to me? Because he needs money. He's in a serious cash crunch. He's about $50 million behind the DNC and the Biden campaign. And Democrats have like over $1 billion in cash commitments from outside groups. Trump is at a huge deficit. So he's looking at these cabinet postings as sort of ways to like kind of trade favors, get from donors, even the vice presidential picks. Like, for example, Tim Scott has always had the Oracle backer, Larry Ellison, behind him. He wrote him a huge check, $30 million for a Senate campaign. And I was told that, like, if Larry Ellison, who has been talking to Trump, has been going down to Mar-a-Lago, they've been flirting a little bit, he's a white whale kind of donor, said to Trump, if you put Tim Scott as your vice president, I'll write you a $100 million check. Trump would do it. And I think for even people like Vivek Ramaswamy, I don't know if you saw the latest Bloomberg reporting, but he's talking about putting Vivek in DHS. For him, he sees that he's an immigrant or a child of immigrants, and he thinks, and he's not a white person, so that might be a signal when he cracks down with his, you know, his immigration policy. But really, Vivek can also raise money for him. And so there's, you know, Vivek comes from tech world, VC, Wall Street. So a lot of these positions, John Polson, he really wants a job. He wants to be the Treasury Secretary. He's a hedge fund billionaire. He's throwing a lot of events for Trump in Palm Beach, bringing along his, you know, billionaire friends to fundraise. And all these people, they've come around, they're sort of kissing the ring, but Trump is looking at them thinking like, can you bring in some donors? Can you raise me money? He needs like $100 million donors right now. He's in such a deficit, and everybody is sort of, he looks at them with dollar signs, essentially, rather than ideology, policy, even loyalty in some ways.
Is it going too far to say that cabinet posts are for sale?
I don't know if we know this is politics, right? It works on both sides of the aisle a little bit like this, right? Like major donors
it's usually reserved for ambassadorships, but yes.
Technically, yeah, ambassadorships.
Typically.
Yeah, exactly. Ambassadorships. I wouldn't say they're necessarily for sale, but you can definitely sweeten your, you know, ability. You'll get more, you know, calls from Trump. You'll have access to him. But that's why donors do this, right? They want to make sure the door is not closed. It's just the door's like literally wide open right now for people to make plays.
Is it money for Republicans and for airing ads and getting him elected, or is it money to save his legal hide?
I think...
Or both?
Both are kind of intertwined. It's not like they can give him money to post a bond, you know, on the $500 million essentially that he owes. It's more about paying legal fees, but Trump sees the legal fees and his campaign as intertwined because, like, he thinks that he's being prosecuted because he's running for president and that this is just part of the campaign. I don't think donors agree with that per se, but some of them have sort of come to the idea that, like, this is baked into the Trump presidency, is that you're going to have to pay for his legal fees.
We are in a brave new world. Okay, Tara is going to stick around. But time now for sports. Then there were